I'm here to kill chaos. Looks like chaos. I only know one thing. Chaos.
Sure chaos is here?
Chaos. Chaos. We are here to kill chaos. I become chaos.
Top of the morning, my fellow peasant. Oh, right. So it was real. Last night was not a fever dream. Final Fantasy Origin: Stranger of Paradise is actually coming, and wow, the demo is out now. Apparently, if it's working, I'm so heartbroken. I'm not gonna get to play this demo. It literally is up until the 24th of June. I'm hoping this chaos corrupted delay is gonna push that date back, because I'm getting my PS5 on the 25th. Like, come on, man, give me a break. But anyway, so how are we feeling on Origins? Now we've had time to marinate a while. And I got to say, my first reaction seeing this drop 83, of course, I'm an FF fanboy. They could literally show a walking turd in a game, and if it was a Final Fantasy, I'd get very excited. But I gotta say, after dissecting it more and some of the things, even after the second watch last night, they just don't feel right. There's things that are iffy, and I'm kind of sat here wondering, are these things intentional? Are these design choices? Are the way that Jack behaves? So our new character's called Jack. So we've got Jack, we've got Clive. FF17 is gonna have Keith, and 19 will probably be called Cuthbert. Like, these plain ass English names, which, I mean, they make sense. I mean, this is FF1. And I've got to say, I even kind of forget this when I look at this trailer. I think that's what a lot of people's issue with it is, and kind of the way it's presented, is if this is going to be a Final Fantasy Origins, if this is going to be Garland and the first walls, and that princess speaking is indeed Sarah, we're going to have the four fiends, well then we're going to want this game to represent that in some way. We're going to want it to have the feel, the tone, or at least something aesthetically recognizable to the nostalgia of one. And I gotta say, this trailer just really didn't have it. And this was still a rumor. In my head canon, everything about this game on paper was really a smart idea. It was a brilliant idea, because in my mind, I've always thought, if we were ever gonna get an FF1 remake, I mean, Tabata was the first to really kind of suggest that there were people in Square Enix who wanted to do this. To now find out that this is like more Nomura's brainchild. Apparently he's had this since Dissidia 12 Duodecim. I want to pull the exact quote up. Alright, where was it? Audrey, good old Audrey, always translating. Love him. So the concept of Planet Stranger Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin came around after the time of 12 Duodecim. This is Nomura. I thought to myself that I wanted to have a game focused not on character battles, but on locations where actions take place. After some time had passed, I started playing a new Final Fantasy with the themes of a story of an angry man. And Jack definitely gives that vibe off. I mean, that's the first thing you can kind of recognize, is he's so detached from Woe, the blue armored Dissidia Woe that we've all kind of known, who his heroic principles are shooting so far out of his arse that, you know, Chaos has no chance. Now we have this very, very angry dude who seems like a straight savage. Very bloody, very obsessed. Maybe that's why we had Chaos so much in, like, shouting at us in that freaking trailer, to like really emphasize how obsessed Jack is by this. And something seems very unhealthy, and it's where I start thinking, damn, what are we dealing with here? Because I had to brush up on my FF1 lore again. I kind of forgot it all after 15. We had like the Marilith appear, which was one of the original four fiends. I get confused with the FF4 fiends. So we got Marilith, Lich, Kraken, Tiamat. Tiamat is the other one. And from my understanding, there's a lot of crazy time looping elements happening in one. Ever since the first FF, time was not linear. I think it's something crazy like Garland absorbs the fiends, and like they go 2,000 years into the future, and then they send him back, and this back and forth keeps happening. That basically makes Garland invincible. I think that's all of our minds. Like, is there some odd Dissidia multiverse duodecim time thing happening where, I mean, because we've had it throughout the series, like from World of Final Fantasy, again to Dissidia, Final Fantasy 14, huge on this, like the Omega raids where, oh, Omega decides it needs a wacky, crazy clown to fit this part of the story. It brings in Kefka and stuff. And Enna Crow, for example, she'll select from the A worlds and the B worlds, like the heroes who are most suitable for this problem, this issue. And that's what I feel like Jack probably might be. And I'm not sitting there trying to absolve or play off the very bizarre design choices that absolutely do feel mismatched in this universe. Like, oh, Pinkhead, Prompto, Lightning Boy, we got freaking Kiros. I mean, where are these models? We'll check them out in a sec. I just want to finish this. Even though this is a Final Fantasy game, it doesn't feel like one. However, the blood of Final Fantasy runs thick with this game. Even so, it's quite a difficult compromise which led to challenges for this austere title. While it may take some time before the game is complete, the battle system is heavily linked to the story, incorporates a lot of bloodshed, and I hope you will give it a shot. So, wow, we went from like asking for darker Final Fantasies that have got blood in it. Ever since Versus 13, people have been asking for that, and now we've got 2 coming out. 16 and this. It's going to be very angst. I feel like we're going to be screaming for the lighter-hearted, chibier slapstick tone of like 9. And I guess even 1, because this is what I loved about the idea of 1 being done in a way that it would still like have its tropey, cliche kind of storytelling. Because it's FF1, for God's sake. It's very basic. It's darkness versus light, chaos versus order, and the dialogue was nothing spectacular. And I always thought, well, if you put like a Dark Souls Neo combat in there, you know, like look at Dark Souls. It can tell an intriguing, compelling story, while it's not necessarily the forefront. It's not the be-all or end-all. No, not to say Dark Souls still hasn't got a cool, intriguing story. It does, but just the way you uncover it and explore it is very different. And that's why I thought this would be a more combat-focused game with those elements slapped in. But it doesn't seem that way. It seems, or at least, and I think this is what the problem is. I actually don't mind these character models in their own right. Like, this is actually a really cool design. I like this guy. This guy could be more questionable. He could be absolutely annoying as fuck, or he could be an absolute dude, like Prompto. We just don't know yet. But I think what immediately sets the warning bells off is they're clearly trying to be bold with this entry. I mean, it literally says it in the trailer that this is going to be a bold take on the origin stories. Now, well, whether that means reimagining, whether that means multiverse stuff, so like the context of this is all different. And I'm kind of hoping that that is the case if we have these characters, because the problem is, if you're trying to do an origin story, there's going to be people, I mean, like me, I've never played 1. I'm not really a Final Fantasy fan. I'm a fraud, because I've not played it yet, but I've always wanted to experience the 1 and 2 games, and that's why I've been hyped for the remake. I can still get the vibe and the essence, but now you're giving these characters whole different designs to the point they don't even look authentic to the environment they're in. They certainly don't feel authentic to anything we associate as WoW, and I feel like by doing that, you're going to open these characters to new scrutiny. Like, these characters are going to have to develop and adhere themselves to us. You know, we're going to scrutinize more how they interact, how they feel, what their arcs are. And it basically means that these characters now have to organically stand on their own feet. And I kind of feel like that's a trap, because if they just stuck like WoW in there with WoW armor, and the armor could be darker, it could be more like battered and bruised. Like, this is a version of WoW that has perhaps gone through this cycle so many times that that warrior essence in him has started becoming corrupted. He himself has started becoming chaotic. No, and we definitely get that vibe of Jack. Like, the chaos has really started to affect him to the point where he's now trying to battle it, and he has no logic as to why. It's just a feeling, it's an urge. He's almost become animalistic. And I think if we had like WoW as we know WoW kind of being the one who is having that transformation, like, that would immediately carry so much of the plot, because WoW's an established character who we've seen in so many iterations, but now we have these brand new ass characters, and all that really means, and it's where My faith for Team Ninja isn't really there, simply because of Dissidia NT. Dissidia NT, I'm talking about the main story. It was stale, man. It really was. I was super hype and excited just to see. I mean, you're seeing like HD Final Fantasy characters from the whole universe slapped together in the game. You know, we had Kuja and Zidane and Terra. We had them pink out. What's the word I'm looking for? Pink out. Pink eye. Trance. That was it. Yeah, we saw them all trance out, and like that was super cool. But other than that, that Dissidia NT story was pretty lame, man. And it was lame because the way that the characters interacted with each other, with the environment, it didn't feel authentic. And it just felt weird. And it is such a fine line when you're trying to build new characters. Such a fine line between them feeling authentic and real. And that really can determine the entire experience of the game. Here's the thing, guys. I'm just going to say, as cynical as I'm being, and kind of pointing out these are all elements, because I don't want people to think that I'm not aware of them, and I'm not like, yeah, I'm not even 50% sure whether this is going to be a good game or not yet. I'm still really freaking excited, and I'm still very much willing to give this all a benefit of doubt. Like, we have only seen a minute or two trailer. People complain about things like how the characters look, graphics, the things that could easily change. Now, another one of those being like the environments. The environment in this is absolutely drab. The color palette is grays and browns, which was absolutely my biggest criticism of 15. As good as Dusk Sky looked, I love poppy color palettes. That's the fantasy, man. And FF1 had that. Like, I'm not saying it should be FF1's color palette, because I mean that thing was epileptic at times. Like how freaking colorful and poppy all of the color palette was. Now, of course, I wasn't expecting we're going to get that, but I've got to say, it's just what made 1 so great. It's what made Amano the legend that he is, arguably his franchise, was just how clear and expressive, even back then, these characters were. I know this is a 1-1, these are remakes, but you get what I'm saying. Like, they were very expressive, and you could clearly see these really cool-ass like mobs and designs you were fighting. It wasn't so much that in that trailer. I was having to sort of squint into the darkness. It was like fucking Jack squishing something in the corner. I'm like, is that an imp? And like the bomb wasn't very clear. Like it's just kind of like very matte and dulled, and don't really see why. Like why not just make that color brighter, make its face like crazy and sinister. And we're going through the world of 1 as it was known, or as we kind of came to it. Oh damn, is this is Chaos merging with the 4 Fiends here. Oh, look at that. That design. Oh, Marilith strapped on the back. Yeah. Tiamat. Is that Lich there or there? Either way, like, absolutely freaking awesome. I can't wait to see all of these designs coming back, but clearly this FF Origins is very different in how it's wanting to make us feel to FF1. So that's why I think it's going to be disconnected from the nostalgia, the pool, the font of nostalgic power that this game could have tapped into. I think it's going to be somewhat disconnected from that now. And instead we're dealing with this kind of matte, more sinister sort of vibe. And with Nomura saying that the environments were kind of the focus to begin with all of the elements of talking about Jack and an angry dude, and I can't help but think that perhaps this is a timeline of 1, or a universe, or maybe some being even bigger than Chaos that is trying to, redefine the Warrior of Light. Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Ooh, think about that. Damn, because think of how many villains over the series have had their arse handed to them by the Warrior of Light. Like, how many villainous plots have been unraveled by the WoW, and in a way the WoW it is one big connected kind of thing. I mean, that's the essence of Dissidia. This is what connects his character. It is the essence of the Warrior of Light. And what if there is some big baddie even beyond Chaos, or maybe Chaos has just come back from the time loop again and is realizing, if we can beat the Warrior of Light at its very core when it was being made, when it was being forged during the FF1 story, we have a potential to corrupt many timelines, or just achieve victory in FF1 again. And maybe that's why Jack's coming across so sinister, so broken, so angry, so feral, and is absolutely a warrior of light that we are just not used to seeing. And this is why he seems so over freaking zealous about beating Chaos, to the point where, like, come on, man, stop shouting it in the trailer. I think I'm going to say, I think the way the trailer was cut up, I said it yesterday, too much focus on finishers, not showing us enough of, like, what were they? Were they like job classes? Are we oscillating between like some bardish roles and some like Dragoon or Dark Knight? It looked like it. Do we pick up those armor sets? I guess the demo is really going to answer a lot of people's fears. Like, I feel like this is a game until you get your hands on it, until we have more context, and definitely until we see some other environments. Like, this is all taking it part in, is it the Chaos Temple? I mean, it looks that way. It looks like this is all taking part in the endgame dungeon, which could actually be the beginning dungeon. And in fact, I'm kind of even suspicious that this is the beginning. Would they really give us the demo right now of FF1's ending, of its final dungeon? Would they be doing that? I'm thinking, maybe not, maybe not. Maybe this is actually how it opens, and we're actually seeing Woe potentially kind of going down the same dark path that Garland did. Now, I don't know too much about Garland. Again, I've not played one, but as I think if the Princess Sarah said there, like, Garland was once a knight, decent, and in this trailer, she kind of wants Jack to go and find him, to help him. It seems like she actually admires Garland in a way, and that kind of makes me think, there's a deeper focus on, when there's a deeper focus on Garland's like humanity, his good side, a better focus on that. And now we've got a much darker focus on Woe, and like Jack being much darker. Perhaps we're doing some role reversal. We're doing that nothing is either good or bad thing. This could have themes of chaos and order, and how they both have their place in the world, and you cannot just be eliminating one. I don't know. I'm trying to make things up in place of what we did not see in the trailer, to try to give like some context as to how this could be good. It is, man. It is. What's the current like to do? Oh god, that's the current like to dislike ratio. That's pretty bad for Final Fantasy that's just released. It absolutely isn't helping that the demo has absolutely pooped it on the first time. So all of this is a very bad first impression for fans. Everyone's just gone on about the chaos. Chaos could be a thought. There could be chaos. What is it? I hate chaos. It's coarse and rough and irritating. It's everywhere. Does he need to kill chaos? I wish the trailer was more clear. Man, I hope all of this is just a little bit of misdirection. I was seeing some memes pop out yesterday. Let's just quickly view some spicy memes. I gotta say, the armor sets, when you actually look at the different armor sets, the models that have come out, they actually do look really cool. But it is very surprising that this is a Nomura design. Like, especially Jack. This is by far one of Nomura's most like basic designs. Like, where the belts, man? Where the buckles at, yo? So many people can't get the feeling that Nomura didn't actually give a shit about this, but I mean, from what he said, this is something he's wanted to do for a long time. So it seems anything but. And then you got some other comments saying like, "Oh my god, Final Fantasy repurposes and reuses their models more than the porn industry does." Where's it? Where's the one I want to see? It's this one. Our new cast is Strangers of Paradise. Come on, man. Oh my god. Oh no, this pro tag looks like every Final Fantasy 15 NPC. Oh, poor Dave. Man, Dave was a king, yo. He was a king. Yeah, this was what they said, a bold new vision for Final Fantasy. And I like that. I like bold. And again, until I see more environments and more of this game, and I play it and I feel it, and I definitely suspect shenanigans, especially with that opening line, like the memories of themselves or whatever are buried deep in their hearts. Like, that's why I thought this was a Kingdom Hearts game when we first showed it, because that definitely has a sniff of, yeah, these aren't the characters in their first iteration. Oh wait, what? Oh. No! Oh no! Oh god. Oh, he's pretty generic, isn't he? I mean, attention to tell. Anyway, I'm not so fussed about the character model. That actually, though, that right there, how did they went from Design War of Light into Jack McDude? Obviously, this is 14. I'm not going to say who, but we know that this was a darker, more sinister Woe. And I got to say, you look in the eyes. The eyes. Jack, he ain't the Woe. He's becoming this kind of Woe. And yeah, I really think there's a cool way this could be a juicy reopening and like really add new context to the entire lore of the universe, which that's what I'm excited for, man. I'm excited to get my hands and do some of these dress up, ping. Like some of these shots are cool. I think the trailer was just cut up a little bit arsey. Mixture of excitement and confusion. Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm feeling. And I think mine's just a little bit more towards excitement than confusion. But I'm a fanboy, I can't help that. Yes, Final Fantasy Origins. Someone's excited. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. How are you feeling? Oh, we had this Pixel remaster as well. That's going to be interesting. We're actually going to get 1 and 2 and whatnot. I think it's all the way up to 6. Really confused how this is going to work. So it's a 2D Pixel remaster. Like, will it have voicing in it? As in, like, 4 obviously had a remake and they've had a voice that they're then going to take the voices out, which I don't know. It would feel like an inferior version. But I don't know. This is a pretty cool way for fans to actually experience 1 and then get themselves into Origins as well. To know the difference and vibe the difference. I'm definitely going to play it before Origins comes out. Oh man, this was the shot that just looked really freaking naff. Like, I don't know, some of the hair and just the derpy way it looked. I don't know if this is just so early in development still, but Nomura really went too hard on Jack's design. Moving belts. I gotta say though, the more I'm just like sitting and staring at Jack's design, it's very, very basic, but kind of, again, I'm wondering if any of these things are point of him. Obviously, he's not going to stay in that sort of basic ass outfit. Oh god, people are already superimposing him over Reno, the pink-haired boy. I really hope we actually get like the Warrior of Light armor set at one point. Yeah, man. Come on, Jack got a strap up, got a strap on in. And are we supposed to be seeing a more stripped back version of Marvel? Stripped of his armor, stripped of all of the kind of traits we've commonly come to associate with him. I think so. I'd like to think, again, Nojima's on the writing and he can be exceptionally fan-fictiony at times. Nothing's too crazy for that man, so this really could be completely different to anything FF1. I think that, again, that's where we're going to have problems. Like FF7, fans have a preconceived notion of how this game should be. This isn't that. 7 Remake ain't 7. It's an abomination to it, and I feel like a lot of fans are very resilient at giving things like a new, fresh chance, like a new headcanon, a new opportunity to make an impact on them. Because all they just do is keep harkening back to what it was and notions of what it should be. And I don't use the word entitlement, but maybe I'll break down E3 in another video. But I gotta say, this whole E3, that Square Enix presentation, this trailer. There's so many of those things that I felt really good about. I felt really optimistic. I'm excited to see more. Even things I didn't give a damn about, like racing games and sports games, like that Forza title, some of the side action pixel games, the dungeon games, some of the indie stuff, some of the shooters. There was so much that aren't genres that interest me, but I was still really impressed. I was still like, damn, like, I don't give a damn about car games, but that Forza game looked awesome. I'm happy for people who enjoy those kind of games. Like, there's gonna be people who love that. And it was even like when Life is Strange came on. I saw so many people kicking off, and like, who wants to see this? This is crap. No one likes this game. It's like, the game won awards, man. It won freaking awards. It was a hit success, and many people liked the game, but there were just so many people just F and Z, and I've seen this obviously every E3, but I just think like, damn, am I the only one who thinks this E3 went actually that bad, and that the games, they're looking amazing and they're actually looking kind of ingenuitive. I think that's the main thing I'm appreciating, is that I'm seeing ingenuitive new ideas, creative new concepts being put on the table. Like nothing felt really repetitive and boring, but it was still enough for people just to be screaming about how lame it was. And I'm just like, damn, these entitled ass, stroppy, kind of petulant kids. And I mean, I've been there before. I've been that person at E3 where absolutely nothing I wanted came personally, and I kick off about it. But I don't know, I'm rambling at this point. What do you guys think about this E3 as a whole? I've actually pretty freaking impressed. Like when it comes to the entitlement thing, again, nothing was even clearer to me than Square Enix showing Guardians of the Galaxy as their opening, and nailed it. They nailed everything about it. Okay, like, sure, we're on like an hour and a half hour schedule. Some people like, can we hurry this along? No, but on the flip side, we've had E3s where we've actually had like 10 seconds of ambiguous fucking nothing shown. People kick off about that. So even when Guardians showed us loads of gameplay, it showed us how the game works. It's going to have multi-choice. It looked fantastic. The music was banging. We saw so much of the new characters and scenes. And then to top all that awesomeness off, we got a release date that is this year and kind of just round the corner at this point. And people are still kicking off. Like, people are still fucking losing their mind and calling them every name under the sun. No, and simply just because things like 7 Remake Part 2 wasn't there and 16 wasn't there. Those games are still coming, man. Like, they're still in existence. I kind of feel like in some people's heads, 7 Remake Part 2 was 16 didn't show up, so they don't exist anymore. Now I'm pissed at Square. Like, am I the only one who just feels that, considering the Final Fantasy droughts that we have had, where we have waited 4, 5, 6, I mean, FF15 was 10 years to get a freaking game, and now we have all these entries in the pipeline. I don't give a damn if we have 20 games in the pipeline and 5 of them are poopers, or some of them are mid-range games that aren't that graphically intense, or they attempt these bold new kind of directions or combat systems. And no, because Final Fantasy, I said it in the previous video, we're in an evolving phase where this franchise is trying to find, okay, what are we about? How are we going to be evolving from here? How are we going to be appealing to current gen gamers? And Final Fantasy has just been in this sort of discovery phase for a while. So I really don't give a damn if they cycle through tons of mid-range games trying to find their footing. I prefer that infinitely more than having nothing and feeling that the franchise isn't going anywhere and it's not evolving from anything. So there we go, Final Fantasy Origins, I'm done. If I had to give a percentile on how sure I feel from that initial trailer that I'm going to enjoy it, because yeah, there are some trailers where you just look at it and you're like, I know I'm going to love this. I'd say I only got about 75-80% of that. And that's 75-80% me being a massive fanboy who can find a way to enjoy Final Fantasy games in all their weirdest and wackiest iterations. If I had to be completely impartial, I'm like 50-50, man. 50-50 that Team Ninja are going to biff this formula, that this ain't going to be a decent game, that either the combat system just won't feel right, it won't be difficult enough, it will give you those kill finishes too frequently, like God of War had that. I mean, there's loads of games that have had that, where you can just cheese that kill finisher off, and because it's the easiest way to finish them off, you end up doing it so much, and then it just gets boring and repetitive as hell. Maybe there is no multiversal stuff or deeper context with Jack or his association with WoW, or why this world is the way it is. Because this world, I was kind of thinking, could be like a reflection of Jack. Jack has lost himself to the bloodlust, and that the world, game, environments, they're kind of a reflection of that. I know, I'm spitting ideas, but we shall see. Let me know, guys, if that demo is actually working for any of you. If any of you have any of your gameplay, or you know of any, because I'm probably just going to have to watch this until my PS5 comes. Some people are saying, isn't there a way that you can get this on the PS4? It was last night before I'm going to bed. People say you can just do some weird download trick. If that's a thing, please let me know. But other than that, until the next video, our beautiful peasants, 100k, we're so close. so very, very close. And what I can promise you, if you go down, subscribe now, hit the bell button, get me to 100k, I can promise there will be less chaos in Final Fantasy Origins than there was in that trailer. It will reduce the chaos references by 50%. Do you want that? You know what you gotta do. Thanks, guys.